Welcome to the Record Machine Show, a podcast featuring interviews from indie and renowned artists from all genres of music. Now, here's your host, James Michael Hollenstein.
Welcome to another episode of the Record Machine Show. I'm your host, James Michael Hollenstein, coming to you loud and clear from North Myrtle Beach. And today we're diving headfirst into the world of pure melodic hard rock. My guest this week is a powerhouse vocalist, a road warrior, and one of the most respected voices in the scene. David Reece, frontman of Bangalore Choir and former lead singer of Accept. Now, Bangalore Choir are back and sounding better than ever with their brand new release on BraveWords Records. Rapid Fire Succession on Target Part 2. Critics are calling it one of the band's strongest efforts to date. Metal Talk says it revives the spirit of '92. Grunge be damned, and Vinyl's Times praises it as proof that David Reece remains one of the greatest singers of melodic hard rock. The first single, Bullet Train, dominated 97underground.com radio chart, holding the #1 spot for 6 straight weeks, while the follow-up single, Driver's Seat, is already making serious waves and climbing into the top 10 at number 6. We'll be talking about the new record, the creative process, and the upcoming tour that's about to take Europe and the US by storm. But first, let's start the show the right way. Turn it up and let's put the needle to the record, because here's the song that kicked this whole thing into overdrive. This is Bullet Train by Bangalore Choir.
Lost in thought but not in name. Blinding speed of my
That was Bullet Train from the new Bangalore Choir album, Rapid Fire Succession on Target Part 2, available now on BraveWords Records. Joining me is the one and only David Reece. So how you been?
I'm good, man. Pretty happy with the reception of this new album. It's been nuts.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the new release, Rapid Fire Succession on Target Part 2. It's out now and getting rave reviews. How does it feel to finally share this with the world?
At first, I was, honestly not sure how it would be received. But, when you come out of the box, and let's be straight, I mean, for the last 30 years, I would get minimal airplay, like, light rotation, but stations like 97 Metal Shop, I mean, at 97, Bullet Train was number 1 for 6 weeks. Yep. And now driver seat's number 2. So, and they're continually changing around the world, different tracks I see every day on these stations. KNEC is back now, and they were an integral part of supporting Bangalore Choir on Target. They actually hosted our release party at the Whiskey.
Nice.
When Ton Mastery was the big shot there. It was ABC in concert was there. So it's kind of gone full circle. So it worked. And I'm really, I just feel blessed,
Yeah, I've been listening to it a lot, and it sounds awesome, man. It's great.
Thank you.
And to me, it really brings back that early Bangalore Choir energy from the 90s, but with a modern punch. What was the inspiration or vision going into this project?
Last year was my first time ever playing France. Believe it or not, I stood across the border. Why don't we ever play France? And the other guys I work with, you don't want to play. Like, yeah, I do. Because, Paris, Normandy, all these places that I want to see plus play. Mm-hmm. And I look at analytics and see where things are moving, and the French people know who I am and blah blah. So, but as a solo artist, which I had kind of decided to take that career path for a while, you hit kind of a plateau, James. Attendance wise, media, I guess, for lack of a better answer, and in my set, I always play about 5 songs from On Target, and then 2 or 3 from Eat the Heat, and then I do a couple classic cover songs. And every time I play On Target song, people know the words, no matter where I am, and are singing and going crazy, and they'll bring On Target to shows and have me sign it. Nice. I mean, it's amazing, So I've kind of been watching what's happening with branding quite a bit. And I saw that Mike Tramp, Songs of White Lion, and I've been watching the bands that are consistently getting the good slots and the good tours have the brand. The David Reece brand is fairly strong, but not strong enough. So on the way back to Italy, I was having a hard look at myself, and I went, I'm going to do this. Called the booking agency, and they were like ecstatic. They said, man, that's going to really boost potential. So that was the first step. You want me to continue how this kind of
sure
in my noodle started brewing? So I knew that I'd done a few Bangalore Choir records in the interim over the years that, in my honest opinion, would have maybe 3 pretty cool tracks and then 7 fillers. It was never like On Target, that impactful musically. Yeah, and I knew it. People knew it. Oh, Back to Life on Center Mass, very much like On Target. But then, it just wasn't quite there. So I came home and I studied On Target. I listened over and over again, in the headphones, and I said, man, I got to put myself back in 1990. This is tough. What was I thinking? I didn't know. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast today. So I called my weapon of mass production, Mr. Andy Susamil, and I told him about my idea. But first, I had called Giles Lavery because I knew he was working with BraveWords, and I said, this is my plan. He goes, cool. but you got to get the On Target vibe, Dave, if you're going to do this, and we'll sign it. I said, okay. So plan B, call Andy, because he had done some BC shows with me, with the original members, like the Live at Firefest record and stuff. So he understands it. But our first 4 or 5 attempts musically, what we were sending back and forth, it just wasn't doing it. It was kind of like those fillers. I said, Andy, we're not getting it. We gotta go back and do our homework. And then he sent me the riff for Driver's Seat. And I went, aha, that's slipping away. It's similar. I said, that's it, man. So I don't know, maybe in 30 minutes I'd written the lyric to it. It was weird. It just kind of came. And then I ran down to the studio like the day after, demoed it, listened to it, and said, yeah, I'm going to go in tomorrow and make it right. And I tracked it, and I said, there we go. And then he threw the riff for Bullet Train at me. And then once that happened, the floodgate opened. We were on the right path. And that's the great thing about Andy and I. Once we get it moving, it's like a freaking train wreck. I mean, it just keeps happening. And I'm not complaining, but that's just how we operate.
Yeah.
That's how it all transpired, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned Andy Susamil. You got a killer lineup on this album. Who else is playing on it, and how did this particular group of musicians get together?
Well, I mean, Andy, you know, as fruitful as he is, you know, you can't write, you know, we actually wrote 26 songs collectively with me and a few other people with Andy. And so I had done a lot of work with Mario Percadani, as you're aware, from Tens and Music. You know, he played with Hardline. He's more of a West Coast kind of guy, but he loves, and that's another thing going back to David Reece, you know, doing the heavy stuff that I did before. I'm not a metal singer. I kind of had a calling that, you know, Dave, you're a hard rock blues singer. That's what you are and what you do best. That's what people respond to. And Mario loves that about me. He doesn't like it when I kind of veer off and start experimenting. So I called him and I said, this is what I'm doing. And he goes, you know, I've got some ideas. Come over to the studio. And we recorded 3 tracks that made it to the record, and he played solos on it and rhythm. And those songs would be I Never Meant To, I'm Headed For, and Love and War. And I recorded Sail On that I had written with a guy named Marcel Singer, who I'd met in Holland last January. I did a thing called Rock Party of the Year. It was a 2-night show. And it's like a collective of Golden Earring guys, all these kind of famous people that, you know, I've listened to all my life were on stage. And singers, multiple singers would do like 5 songs, and then we do it the next night. Even Les Binks, who sadly passed away like literally a month after that thing happened. He played drums on that thing. But I asked Marcel, I said, you know, I really like your guitar playing, because he was on stage the whole set each night. And he said, you know, I got some ideas. Let me go home and think about it. And he sent me the riff for Sail On. So that's Marcel playing the solo on that. And then my touring band, Niccolo Savinelli, is coming back into my fold after I come home from the Girls' School Alcatraz tour this November and December. He's coming back in. But he had kind of taken a hiatus and gone a different direction. So I went to see Warlord, Giles's band. They played in Milan, and it was bonkers. I mean, it was a Warlord crowd, which is, I didn't know anybody there. And usually if I go to a club like in Milan, everybody's like, what's up, Reece? Hey. I didn't recognize anybody, or nor did my wife. It was kind of a Man-O-War crowd, which I know nothing about.
Yeah.
But I watched these 2 guitar players play off each other, and I said, that's something. And Bangalore Choir Music is a double guitar band live, you know. So they play a lot of the rhythms. I mean, all of the rhythms on the record. And I had them both play the same rhythm, three tracks layered on each song. So I kind of panned everything like the old days. Right. And they did solos on songs like Swimming with the Shark, I think, and The Beauty, and a few others. They threw in some licks as well. But yeah, I would say 80% of the songwriting is Andy and I. And Andy does a lot of the solos and rhythms, but I stack the other guys' rhythms on it. And then Andy does a lot of background vocals as well. which he's great at, and so does Mario. So yeah, it's a collective of guys, but the working band, the touring band, I just got back from France actually a few days ago. And I still have Nalo on drums and Ricardo on bass. I was going to change everything, but I kind of slapped myself one day. I said, listen, man, to have a good rhythm section in rock and roll is key. You got to have a drummer that's driving nails on the floor and a bass player that can work off a drummer. And I'm like, what am I thinking? So I just called them and said, would you be interested in doing this? And they were like, absolutely. So that was a wise decision because, I mean, they just ripped through it. It's all live drums and bass. I mean, it's none of this program crap that happens. And then Giles suggested, Andy used to mix a lot of my work and master it. And I wanted to get away from that. So Giles mentioned Thomas Mergler, a German guy who I didn't know. So I listened to some of his work and I said, he's pretty good. And as you can say earlier, when you listen to the mix, he got it.
Yeah, he did.
He nailed it. He did a great job. Can't say enough good about Thomas Mergler. Great production. And
it was engineered by Ricardo too, right?
A lot of it, yeah. I mean, he's a master at the editing. You know, when you record vocals, you have bleed overs and stuff, and he tapers and cut and all that. And I have a real trusting relationship with him where through the glass, I can tell if he's feeling it when I'm singing. And if I'm not, he'll tell me. And he's really good with, Dave, why don't you try this harmony here? Because I'm the kind of typical guy where I don't hear those half notes and stuff that like the Eagles and bands like that are really clever at. You don't really like hear it in the track, but it's there and it makes that chorus big. But my ear will actually go to the thirds and the fifths and, you know what I mean? Harmonically. Whereas Ricardo and Mario are really good at, hey man, try this. And I'm like, what? And then I sing it once. And as soon as the red light's on, I can't sing it. So it's a work in progress for me. I'm trying to improve that, you know. But yeah, he engineered all the vocals and recorded them for me, quality recording. And even Thomas, the guy that mixed it and mastered, said, whoever recorded your voice did a great job. It saved me a lot of trouble.
Nice. So, and it was done at Tom Sound Ranch. And how was this recording process different from your past albums?
Typically with recording nowadays, you just, everybody records their parts and file shares. But I told them all, Nalo and especially Ricardo, I want you guys in a room together. I want the human touch. You know, I mean, everything is quantized now, especially with new metal, and it's just kind of sterile to me. It's just straight. You know, there's no push and pull. And if there's a little screw up here and there, that makes it rock and roll. I mean, perfection is kind of the norm now for if you listen to metal records, and they have this really high hiss sound with digital,
right? That
gets on my nerves a little bit. I mean, you have it now with everything because it's done on Pro Tools, but a lot of the new bands, you hear that crisp thing. You get that super punch. You know what I mean? And I didn't want that. I wanted a warmer sound. You know?
Yeah, and I think you got it on this one.
Thank you.
The album title, Rapid Fire Succession on Target Part 2, has a powerful ring to it. What's the story behind the title, and how does it connect to Part 1?
It's a military kind of thing that goes on with the bomb and the girl and On Target. My brother's a Marine. My nephew just returned from Syria. I'm kind of like on the phone with those guys, getting the lowdown on what's happening, and then they just make quotes, and it just popped up one day. I said, that's a cool album title, Rapid Fire Succession. But On Target Part 2 was kind of what I was after. So Giles and I came to the agreement on that should be, you know, hey, it's an attention grabber. Oh, let's see if it's really like On Target. And like you said earlier, it's On Target sounding, but with a modern sound. Well, the person was recorded on two 48-inch tape or 48 track Sony 1-inch tapes. And that was, you know, the digital age was kind of being fooled with. So it was digital tape, but in an analog environment. But yeah, I mean, really what it is, James, is songs, I think. you know. I mean, if you ain't got the songs, you ain't got if you don't have the mix and the ingredients, you don't have a record.
Right.
You know, that's why I said 4 or 5 misses when we began. And then when Driver's Seat popped up, I said, okay, now we're on the right track, you know. And I owe a lot of credit to Andy and, you know, everybody that was involved, even Freddie Dornberg on Mending Fences on Act 2 with the final track. I mean, I've jammed with Freddie a million times and played a few live gigs with him. And usually backstage, we love Ray Charles. We love that stuff. Elton John. So he just kind of pluck around on a piano and I just ad lib and sing along. And one day he said to me, there's 2 guys that I jam with, singers that know what they're doing. One of them is you. And I go, who's the other? He goes, Joel and Turner. You guys know where to go. As I said, well, that's a great compliment. He said, you just know where to end when I hit my last chord. And that's because I grew up on that stuff, you know, and I wanted something like that. And we got it, you know.
Definitely. Bullet Train, which we played earlier, hit #1 for 6 straight weeks on 97underground.com. That's pretty incredible. What's the story behind that song, and what do you think hit so hard with your listeners?
The second answer to the second question was the only answer I can give is it's a great track. It's got something. But lyrically, it's like you're on a bullet train to nowhere. But I'm also kind of fascinated with Japan and their bullet train system. I've never been to Japan, and I've always wanted to get on one because I've heard about touring on the bullet trains, doing 250 miles an hour, and going through rice paddies and seeing the water buffalo, and then you're in the next major city and you're there in like no time. I've always wanted to travel with that. So basically, you can sneak through Mrs. Reece. It's Sunday and my wife is very Italian. So there's cooking going on. And I mean, it's a ritual, bro. A bullet train, it seems like it has a little bit of reflection on social media. Like, for instance, a lot of these guys that are passing on, I'm a huge Mick Ralphs fan. When he died, I went, oh God, because Bad Company was a huge influence, Mata Hoople. But for like 24 hours, it's on a news cycle. And then the next day they're talking, you know what I mean? It's just like people's memory and concentration is gone. And that just seems how everything's moving. It's just boom. And then the next day it's on to the next boom. And the only one that people still talk about, and this is ironic because I decided to start singing Changes last year because I'd heard a black guy sing Changes on YouTube. And I remembered the song from Sabbath. And I said, let's learn this and play it live. And when I played it in France, people were crying and singing it. And I went, wow. Then Ozzy passes after Back to the Beginning. And he's really the only artist that people talk to me about or I see on social media. The legend of Ozzy is still being talked about. Right. Whereas a lot of guys that had a huge impact in my life that here today, gone later today. And I think it's sad. So I think Bullet Train kind of goes back to that. We're running in place and going nowhere. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know. But the fan reaction to it was like I said earlier, I mean, I would send my record company, the older ones would send songs to those stations and they might put me on new ad and they'd play it like one day and then I'd look like the next week it's not even on the list. I mean, it was torture, but in 30 years this is the most airplay I've gotten, you know, since Bangalore Choir exploded out of the gate, the first album. So I'm really grateful for that. 97 and KNAC, Metal Shop, they've all been way behind it. And I got to tip my hat to BraveWords and Michael Brandbold with the marketing side of it. That was a good choice. Me calling Giles, knowing Brandbold's history, Henderson, and all the guys at Global Rock in the UK, I said, this is a really strong team. They know, they've been through every up and down, and they always seem to be searching for that risk to make something happen, you know? Right. Yep. Which most record companies, as you know, James, they'll do this huge 6 weeks pre-hype before the release in media. The day the record comes out, But 24 hours after that, crickets.
Yeah.
Okay. And I knew that they would continue to work the album. This record came out the 24th of October. And where are we today? The 16th of November. We're almost a month later. I'm doing interviews literally all day, every day, you know, and they're doing a great job keeping it in the forefront, you know.
That's awesome. The follow-up single, Driver's Seat, is climbing fast and already sitting in the top 10. Can you tell us about the track and what it represents within the album?
Well, Driver's Seat to me is, you know, like a lot of time I'll be sitting here at this workstation and there's a pile of words and scribbles and riffs and the piano's over there. And sometimes I just pull my hair out and I got to get out of here. And I'll get in the car and crank it and just drive. It's about feeling the wind in your face. And it seems like these days it's not that easy to do anymore. So people kind of relate that feeling that we used to get. Let's go for a joyride, you know. It's an escape song, you know. And it's got the cool traditional riff that Bangalore Choir would have in a melody, you know, and the big harmonies. I mean, da, 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 da. I mean, it's, you know, yeah, well planned, well thought out, I think, you know. Well, it's planned out, but then if it's got a good foundation, it can only go up, right?
Yeah, it's a great driving song, actually. I cranked that up in the car the last couple of days going to and from my jobs. So, yeah.
Nice.
I love the album. I think it's great, man. You did a great job on this album.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You hit the road this fall, headlining shows in France and starting the end of October, and then you'll be touring through Europe with Girl School and Alcatraz. What can the fans expect from these shows?
All Dave, all Bangalore Choir. I mean, it's like I said, I typically play five off of On Target. I'm going to put 3 from the new album in the set. I'll play Generation Clash from Eat the Heat, Hellhammer, and Ecstasy from the Accept album, which always works well. I did a lot of that on the UDO Steel Factory tour when I was a special guest on that. And that seemed to work really well, especially in like Germany and Belgium and Holland. Everybody knows it. So they can expect a powerful, you know, a powerful set. And the band I've got is smoking. I mean, you know, Eric, the other guitar player, he's actually playing bass on this Alcatraz tour in Scandinavia right now with Girl School. He plays guitar, but their bassist couldn't make the tour. And Eric and I had done a gig. I asked him to be the second on a headline BC show that I was offered in Hamburg 3 years ago. And I headlined the Friday night and I sold it out. It's a big place. Next night, Heat headlined. They sold it out, of course. And then you had Corleone. Everybody was there. Sounds like you might have a little bit of a cold there, James.
I think I'm starting to get one.
Oh God! At least I can't catch it over the internet. I'm you know, doing this like the Vampire Cross. I mean, I'm going out like you said. That's a brutal tour coming up. I mean, I'm doing I think 14 shows with 1 day off, so it's going to be blow and go, and that's the only way to sustain a tour these days. I mean, you saw what happened with Youngblood today. He announced that kid's just been pushing it. I mean, and you know, when people start getting really rich off stuff, they keep telling that artist, "Hey, let's book another 2 weeks in South America. Let's, you know, you're the big thing now, you know." And he's only human, so the doctor said, "Dude, go home and rest." So I've been reading his post today. He's feeling pretty guilty, and you know that he can't do it. But if you watch him, he jumps off the stage and he's hugging fans in the front. I mean, with all the viruses this time of year, you know, it's bound to run through the band. And once one guy gets it, you got, there's 15 of us total, and the 3 bands touring in 2 big bands.
Yeah.
So it'll probably, the ugly head will be reared. I'll put on a mask, and I'm a pretty healthy guy, and you know, I take a lot of vitamins, but you know, I'm only human, and it's bound to rear its ugly head somewhere. But I do try to keep a distance. I'm cordial, and I used to hug and kiss the fans and all that stuff, but since COVID, I'm a little bit hesitant to get that touchy-feely that I used to be, because I got a job to do, and without the voice, you're not going to play, you know?
Yeah, you got to do the old fist bump.
That and we share a lot of microphones on tours these days, so I carry around my own little spray liquid of disinfectant, and they'll throw me that wireless. I'll spray it down. Even the backline guys, they could have the flu, coughing it in their hand, and they set the microphone up and they hand it to you. Right. I don't know. You put your mouth on it. I mean, it's like. So I'm pretty cautious as much as possible. Doorknobs, all that crazy stuff, but you pack that many people into a vehicle, and it's wintertime.
Yep.
And it's cold and wet over here all the time. So they're in Sweden right now. I think they did a cruise gig last night, and cruise ships are really bad. I mean, I've done them in the summer, and everybody in the band has gotten the stomach virus in the middle of summer. Come home. That's
gotta suck.
Oh man, it's like you're dying. It's the Montezuma. I don't know what it is, but they're ice cold. And you go out on the deck and you're on the ocean. It's pretty chilly out there, and then everybody's stuck in this big metal floating vessel. And I don't know what it is. It seems to be a breeding ground for bacteria. I don't know.
It seems like, right? You see a lot of bad stories about cruise ships. Everybody's sick on it. They're throwing up over the side of the boat and stuff.
Yeah.
Not my idea of fun.
Happened, they put them out at dock. I remember there was like 4 or 5 ships. If I remember correctly, they wouldn't even let them, dock. They just said, stay out there, let it run its course, then you can come in. And they had to test everybody, I think, 3 times before they even bring the ship in to port. So, it's interesting,
Definitely. For fans here in the States, you've mentioned plans for early 2026 U.S. tour dates. Any hints on what cities or regions you might be visiting?
Yeah. Zoom chat tomorrow night with the booking agents. It'll be a 3-package deal. There's a bunch of bands being thrown out because let's be honest, if it went out just as Bangalore Choir, ticket sales, some regions might be light. So let's put out 3 bands like Dave's band and sweeten the deal for the public. And there's a bunch of names popping up with the booking agency that's how they want to proceed with it. I heard Idaho kick off, Denver, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota right now are on the table. And I need to procure that and dry the ink on the paper for those. But that's the schedule. But then with the conversation we had at 97, they've been so helpful. I mean, they gave me all the contacts for all the venues that they work with in the Baltimore, West Virginia, Ohio, and a lot of the podcasts that I do are affiliated with them and know them, and said, well, you should play here in Cincinnati. You should play there in Virginia. They should play here in Pennsylvania. So the plan is end of February all the way through March. And then I've got April, some shows in France. And then I've got May, some shows in Europe. And then the festival season kicks off. I've got some big ones in June or in July. But yeah, I'm definitely kicking it off because I'm getting so much push in the States again that I'd be an idiot not to. Now, the bad part of that for my band is financially, it's not, I can't bring them, but I have a great lineup of guys that are backing people like Lita and Sebastian, played with all those bands when they're needed, that are on standby, and they're ready to set up and go to rehearse and then jump on the band and go. Nice. So they're all top-notch players, and it'll be a well-presented gig as it would be here. But, with visas and all this crazy crap, it'd be suicide to spend $30,000 to fly, the 4 guys over with me.
Yeah. Plus, it'd be good for you to see your family, too, right? You got family in the Midwest, right?
Texas, and I got a daughter on the West Coast, got a daughter on the East Coast. I started my career in Minneapolis,
right? Essentially,
and they're talking about 3 dates in Minnesota, actually, and with maybe some of the guys that I used to play with their new bands opening for me, which would be cool. See the old crowd, because I was there last year in March, and one gig was insane. See, the problem is with a lot of the venues now is they have to do like a happy hour 4 to 6 thing, sports bar kind of setup.
Right.
So what happens is they'll get like 200 people after work that have slogged all day and go in and want to drink their Budweisers and eat a burger and hang out and watch TV. And then at like 8 o'clock, they'll start charging the people to come in. So you can't walk around and say to the 200 people that have been sitting there for 2 hours doing business, you got to pay the cover charge. You just can't do it. So one show in particular in Minneapolis, there was like 274 paid plus the whatever amount of people that were already in there. So, but the one thing that was bad is they have a smoking area. And on my stage left, I could see people go out this door and they're out there smoking, but they would see people and they jump over the fence and let them in. So it was like, hey, somebody get a handle on this. These guys are sneaking in for free. But, you know, that's kind of the mantra, how clubs seem to be working. They've got to have that income because let's face it, after 6, 7 o'clock, a lot of people need to go home. They got family and kids and they got to get up in the morning.
Right.
So yeah, I'll be playing a lot of those, plus some casinos, which are really cool. Because, you know, you're right there. You walk off the stage and you go up to your room and great food and, you know, people can go gamble and stay in the hotel if they get too loaded, you know, to drive home. So, it should be cool.
They have some casinos in Florida, too, right? You have Florida and Las Vegas also, you know, of course, Vegas. But Florida has a couple of casinos that I know.
Where are you? Where are you located?
I'm in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Right. I mean, that I've heard North and South Carolina. I've heard Florida a lot. Now, if this East Coast agency thing comes in together, then I told them I want to hit Florida. I want to do the coastline. And they're like, yeah, that's our market, you know, and they do a lot of casinos.
Yeah.
Because, you know, basically casinos have an entertainment budget.
Yeah, definitely.
Included. And because casino always wins, right? So that they also have to have, and they've always got great stages and great crews and great lighting, and you know, so it's like doing like a mini forum kind of thing. And I really enjoy them.
Yeah, by me, we have the House of Blues in North Myrtle Beach. Jeff Tate was there a couple weeks back. That was a good show. You know, but
is he retiring? I heard this is the last.
That's what they're saying. We'll see. Yeah. Zach Wilde is coming to North Myrtle Beach with his Black Label Society, and then he's also going to be doing Zach Sabbath. I don't know if you heard that he has a band called Zach Sabbath. So he's supposed to be doing some of his Black Label and then the Zach Sabbath. So that's probably going to be a pretty damn good show too. That's in May of this coming year.
Incredible, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, he's the total package, man. That guy is not only a really cool person, but I mean, legend, great musician.
Absolutely. You've had such a legendary career from your time with Accept to your solo work and now the resurgence of Bangalore Choir. What keeps that fire burning for you after all these years?
I'm insane. We talked about that. We talked about that actually on the last French tour. You know, all of us that played together have taken that hiatus. And there's this really bad thing in your DNA if you're a performer and you make music. You may say, all right, this is insane. I've got to get a real job. I can't live off these broken promises anymore. And as you age, you know, you've got families and mortgages and the money's getting less and less and less. And, you know, you have to ask your job, can I leave for 2 weeks and go play rock star? It's tough. But all of us that have taken that time off have this burning desire, even listen to the radio, man, I need to be out there. You know, you're going to get kicked in the balls. You know, you're not going to make any money, but it's just who you are.
Right.
I mean, my hiatus was 9 years. I disappeared. I literally just threw my hat and said, it ain't going to happen. Who am I kidding? And it got pretty dark, you know. It's almost like I was pretending I was somebody else trying to fit in. And people kind of realize that, you know, they're not, because you don't tell them what you used to do, because they automatically, if you say, I used to be an Accept, number one, they think you're lying. If they're not familiar with Eat the Heat, right? Or if they do know, they do research it on Wikipedia and they find out, they start acting differently around you when you're just one of the good old boys. You know, hey man, I'm the same guy I was yesterday. Just because I let it slip that I did this, you know, why are you acting so weird? They automatically assume that you got this I'm better than thou attitude,
right?
Than you, and you don't. You know, why would I be here building this house if I thought that? I'd be living with a stripper off her tips all day if that was the way I thought. But you know, so yeah, but we've all taken that road, and I watched Singer of Kicks, his little podcast. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
And Whiteman talks about, you know, in all the years of Kicks, the most money he made was $500 a week. Yeah, I mean, they had a couple of pretty good singles on MTV, and those guys toured nonstop. And he's in his late 60s, and he said to himself one day, I'm done. It's never going to happen. I had a great ride. And they talk about that. And then Dee Snider will come on and go, hey, remember when we played here? And Nuno was like, I went to Lamar's and you guys are playing on the floor in this other club in New York in the corner. And I was like, I want to be those guys. And Whiteman's like, wow, that's cool. Thanks, man. He goes, no, man, you guys played like there was 10,000 people. And I just stood there with my mouth hanging open. But it didn't happen for him. The success that Extreme or Nuno has gotten, you know, but nobody promises you anything. I mean, if it was that easy, we'd all be multimillionaires, and you know what I mean? We'd all be famous.
Right.
So you have to love what you're doing. There's nothing more satisfying than making a record like this one, when I put my heart and soul into it, and to get the reward from guys like you. That, you know, I've had one kind of wonky review, stupid band name. This is a glorified David Reece solo project. Well, kind of it is in a way, because I formed Bangalore Choir with a mission when I got fired from Accept. I'm going to show those guys they can't destroy me. Watch me now.
Right.
So so he kind of like, duh. I mean, it's my band name. I put it together. It was my baby. So in a way, it's true, but he looked like an idiot. But I mean, you know, they give you these ratings like 1 out of 10. It was a 6 out of 10, but he was raving about the production and the song quality throughout the review. And my wife showed it to me in bed one night. I'm like, this guy's like talking out of both sides of his mouth.
Sounds like it.
I'll take it. I'll take it. 1 out of 20 ain't bad, you know, but I mean, he's raving about the album, but then you'll run into these guys that just don't like you, you know, and you gotta let it roll off your back. I mean, not everybody's going to love what you do. I mean, that's just the risk you take.
Right.
Like when I was in Accept, there was no middle. It was either they loved me or they absolutely hated my guts. I mean, it was like when Dio took over Ozzy's job. I was at some of those gigs. I mean, the first Neon Nights record that they did, I mean, people were holding up bed sheets and said, where's Ozzy? I mean, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, and when he tried to do Black Sabbath songs, it just didn't work, you know, with the Ozzy songs. So Ronnie told me once, he said, you know, I go, well, how did you handle that? Because this is after Accept. And he said, well, I look at it like this, you know, you open the lion's mouth and you stick your head in it. And if you bite down, there goes your head. I went, yeah, that's about as simple as you can put it. He goes, I dealt with it every day. And he goes, I still get criticized for it. But, you know.
The album that you did with Accept was, in my opinion, was one of their better albums.
See that gold record on the wall behind me?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, yeah, but see, the thing is, you know, every time like a band, you know, switches singers or something like that, they always expect them to get somebody that sounds like the original singer. And that's not necessarily needed. Like even with Dio put out some of their best albums when he sang for Black Sabbath. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's, you know, Sammy Hagar put out some good albums with Van Halen too. I mean,
Van Halen never had a #1 single until Sammy. They sold more records with Sammy than with Roth, but the purists are up until Sammy's transition in '85, that it was either or, the Sammy Dave war. Mm-hmm. But success wise, 5150 went right #1. They never had a #1. And with my situation, like Blaze or, Ripper Owens and those guys, the thing about Europe, because Accept never broke America. They still haven't. The corporate guys were like, listen, man, Balls to the Wall did 300,000. We got to get at least a gold record if we're going to keep carrying on with you guys. Get an American singer or an English guy, that speaks better English, commercialize the sound, which they were kind of doing from Metal Heart into Russian Roulette. If you watch the way the band was starting to sound, Udo's voice was fast as a shark still. But the purists in Europe, and I'm going to give you a little story about that. You can throw out a few stinker records from a metal band from Germany that's been around since, say, 80. And the fans won't turn their back on you. The problem with the Accept album, we should have changed the name, but you got the brand, right? Like I said with Bangalore Choir, it's the brand.
Right.
One of the problems was we came out with Generation Clash, which was left field for a single. I think we should have come out with Ecstasy or D-Train, something heavy, and then eased into that, right?
Right.
But basically the response from the Germans especially was, what have you done to our band? And we're just trying to be successful. Yeah, but you left us behind. We stood behind you for these years. You've blown it. And going back to Udo, while we were recording Eat the Heat, I went to see Udo play with Andy, actually, in Dusseldorf. And we walked in all cocky, we're Accept, and all the heads turn while he's playing. There they are, there's the new singer. And I'm watching Udo basically rule the roost on stage. And I looked at Wolf's wife, who's the manager, we took a bus there. And I looked at her, I said, what is it about that guy? They love him. And she looked at me cold and said, they love him because he's one of them. And I said, what do you mean? He comes from a hardworking steel factory, working class Bavarian family and got out. And he's one of the boys. He got out. And he's their man. And I just went, holy shit, that makes total sense. And that's what he is. I love him to death. We're dear friends. That is Udo's legacy. Like Doro, it's the same thing. She can play the same set every tour, and there will be the same people at every festival. I remember Doro in Warlock when she was a shy little kid at Dirk's studios going, who's that blonde girl? And she was with some manager going, that's Doro Pesch from Warlock. Well, I heard of them. And now look at her. She's like the queen of the European metal scene, which spawned the Arch Enemies, which spawned the Nita Strasses, which is great for the female side of rock and roll. And don't forget Girl School.
Right.
They spent years touring with Motorhead. God knows what went on behind the scenes on those tours, but they'll tell me. But those guys were like best friends. Lemmy, even in the Decline of Western Civilization, says they play better than most of the dudes I know. And they're a real band. They're a real rock and roll band. So going back to that Legion thing of loyalty, that's the difference than in North America, because in America we have this gone later today kind of mentality. You're the flavor of the 24-hour cycle.
Right.
It's really hard for a European band to crack a nut in the United States. I'll give you an example. Halloween. Did a podcast with a guy, won't mention his name, works with the band for 20 years and said, I don't care if you do an unknown podcast that has 10 followers. Do every podcast in North America you're offered. Don't act like you're Iron Maiden because you're big in Europe and South America. You're not big in America. They started doing everything that was offered to them. And now they're selling out Montreal. They're selling out Detroit, 1,500 seaters. It worked because they're communicating. People have heard the name. But any part of social media these days, that's where Brandvold chewed me a new one. He said, your brand sucks, Dave. We got to build this. You're so behind the curve. You guys, anybody over 40, you guys just don't get it. I didn't understand it. And Michael has been really instrumental in building my brand and getting my face and my podcast with you and all these others in the magazines I've got. Most of them want to ask me about what happened with Accept. That's 30 something years ago. That is such a boring story. Who cares?
Right.
Let's talk about now.
Yeah, let's talk about
Peter
the new
and
album.
Yeah, but they want the dirt. You know, I mean, you've read the story 100,000 times. What do we got to talk about this for?
Right.
You know, nobody liked you. But the weird thing about Eat the Heat, they did the reissue of the album in orange vinyl during the UDO tour. And all these people were coming up to me. They did like a 3,000 limited release of it, and they sold in a week. People were coming up to me with the original copy and the new one, apologizing to me, going, I'm really sorry. This is a great record. Would you please forgive me and sign this? I'm like, I'd love to. So 36 years later, I'll take it. But, you know, it is what it is.
Absolutely. I love that album. You move on. Every band changes, you know, it changes their style somewhat. I mean,
yeah, you gotta
roll with the changes a little.
Yeah. I mean, look at REO Speedwagon, look at the Doobie Brothers. I mean, look at those bands. Chicago, right. They evolved. I mean, the Beatles. I mean, even Bad Company. One thing about Tom Petty that I really admire was he kind of went backwards and said, I want to say something on my own with Wildflowers and that stuff he'd been writing away from the Heartbreakers. And he brought some of the band in to play on it, but it was Tom's solo record. I admire Blackberry Smoke immensely. We went to see them here in Italy, my wife and I, and it was about a 3,000 seater. 1,000 people were there, maybe. And it was Charlie's birthday that day. To hear 1,000 Italians sing Happy Birthday in English and then in Italian, and singing the words to their songs, I just sat there going, this is the new Tom Petty. This band's been around. That was their 25th anniversary, his birthday, and they were like real. You know what I mean? They were a real band. They played some cover songs from Zeppelin. It was great.
Nice.
I said, they're carrying the torch, you know, in my opinion. Then I saw Priest, actually Warlord open for them. I saw the double guitar team that I'm using now open for Priest. And to see Halford at his age commanding 20,000 people, it's just like, I must have seen that band 20 times. And it's like, never disappoints.
He's the metal god, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's an understatement. And have you seen this tour? On the stage they have on the LED, all the guys that have passed, and he kisses Lemmy, Freddie, and now Ozzy's photos on there. And there's a song called Warriors in the Sky or something. And it's about, he does this spiel about all the guys that are leaving us, you know, and you're looking at Rob going, you're getting up there too, pal, but you're still making it happen. But he does a tribute to all of his heroes. And it's kind of an emotional moment in the set that the crowd goes bonkers, you know?
Yeah, I interviewed Carl Miller. He's a famous tour manager from the UK. And he's actually neighbors with the bass player from Judas Priest, Ian, right? And he was telling me, he's like, oh, yeah, they're going to be in North Carolina by you in a couple of weeks. He's like, if you want to go, let me know. I could probably get you in. But it's like a 3-hour drive. So I wasn't up for that, man. I don't like 3-hour drives.
Let me tell you about touring. A lot of the people that write me, when they hear I'm playing like a U.S. place, do they have seating? Do they have food? And you're like, what? And then I'm talking to agencies. So they're having to book tours because let's face it, the fan base is aging. They can't stand on a concrete floor for 3 hours of opening bands and then the headliner for 90 minutes because my back, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So they're asking, oh, well, I need seating. And what's the nearest hotel? Is it within walking distance? So promoters are having to like evolve and going, okay, we can put a show on here. But it's still $1,000 weekend for a married couple.
Right.
Okay. So the working class person, we're all working class. That's what I am. I don't make any money at this. $1,000, you know, when you got grandkids or kids and you got a mortgage, is like, do we really want to go see this band that bad? First of all, we got to drive 3 hours. Then we got to park and get in the hotel and take a shuttle bus to the venue.
Right.
Then we got to stand in the heat, the god awful heat, for 3 hours until it gets dark. They're like, nah, I think I'll stay home and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, or listen to the album.
Yeah, it's funny to me. I mean, I looked around the Judas Priest crowd, and there was guys that were like 12 years old and people in their 70s.
Mm-hmm.
This mix of generations. I went, wow, it's a generational thing. Same thing with Metallica. You know, I saw the Pantera thing. It was just unbelievable, and I was like, there's 10-year-old kids singing Pantera songs and staying through Metallica, and then looked like their great grandparents had brought them there.
Yeah, of
going
course.
Crazy too. I'm like, what in the hell? This is it's so cool to see, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely cool how, you know, their parents or their grandparents, you know, they get them into the music and it just keeps going and going. You know? I got an uncle who's a diehard Kiss fan, and then he got his son into Kiss. Now they go to all the Kiss conventions and you know, the cruises and the concerts and everything. They actually had members of Kiss sign their arms, and they got the tattoo and everything. They're like diehards, you know.
I mean, how ingenious, if you think about Gene and Paul, they've replaced 2 of the people in the band, and God rest face it, you know, right now, but rest in peace, brother. But those guys could literally hire another Gene and Paul in makeup and carry that thing on way past the time you and I are in the ground.
Oh, I'm sure.
Kiss is such a huge organization. It's just, I mean, they could just, people would do it. As long as they play the classics, people would go. The diehard Kiss army would go.
I'm sure. I heard they're talking about maybe holograms in the future.
That bothers me. We had a big AI discussion last night. When Wendy was talking about doing that with Ronnie, that got shut down. It's like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a money grab. Don't do it. I don't want to see Ronnie with something that's made to look like him, you know, doing this and, you know, singing to a PA with a different band. I don't want to see that. And I say to my fans that are listening to your show right now, when it comes time where I cannot do this live, I am going to gracefully step aside because I refuse to sing with a backing track with my face covering the microphone because I just can't cut it. Coverdale retiring, I'm going to be blood honest here. I went to see Whitesnake middle 2000s in a casino. There was an hour and a half of guitar solos and drum solos. And in 90% of the songs he did sing, he stuck the microphone in the crowd because he could not sing.
Wow.
1 week later, I went to the same place in Minnesota called Treasure Island, and Paul Rogers played. Walked out on stage and said, "Hi, everybody," and kicked off "We Can't Get Enough of Your Love" and sang like he was 20 years old. I said, that is what I paid for, you know? So it was time for Coverdale to step aside. Everybody knew it, you know, but I know a lot of bands that are faking it, and I'm just not going to do that. I just, you know, I mean, think about AI robotic musicians on stage that can actually play. They're talking about that. When, let's pick a band, Def Leppard. Let's say they all go into a geriatric center. And there's a guy that looks like Joe Elliott that's actually a robot singing. And people are hearing, you know, "Pour Some Sugar on Me" with his voice pop through the PA. I mean, I'm not going to see that.
No way.
I'm not going to do it. But I mean, the benefits of AI could be tremendous. I mean, cancer research, surgery, stuff like that. Music, it's a human thing. It's an emotion. And if you just can't sing anymore, don't do it. Don't do it. The fans, they're going out there working till they're 67, 70 years old, breaking their back to get their pension, crippled up. I'm crippled up from working ranch work and construction. I mean, I've beat my body to hell. I know guys that are still pushing it and having to pay the bills and a rock and roll band can lay in the hotel all day and sleep and, you know, have their food brought to the door. If you can't do that 90 minutes, you don't need to be up there.
Right.
I don't care what your frickin' name is and what you did in 1975 and 1985. If you can't deliver the goods, bow out gracefully.
Yep. No, I totally agree with you there.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm adamantly opposed to all of this. I mean, we're creeping into technology with Pro Tools and all that stuff,
Right.
Auto Tune and all these things. I mean, on this record, Rapid Fire Succession, all the pitch isn't perfect on that record.
Mm-hmm.
It's the performance of my
Right.
voice. If I feel it, I go, yeah, man, keep that. That's a little sharp here, Dave. I don't care. Leave it. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't analyze it with the spectrum, and go, oh, we can tune it right here. Sing the harmonies a little sharp with me,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
or flat. Because I'm not perfect live. I'm pretty good, but
Mm-hmm.
I know my limits. I mean, in
Right.
France, that was tough. One of the guys that was involved in it ended up in the hospital. Not the band member, but one cancellation,
Mm-hmm.
low ticket sales. Guy just panicked, said, I'm not doing the show. So I had to pay the crew and everybody that was there. It's not their fault, but the stress is the hardest on the singer, and you got to sleep. And there was a couple nights where I was like, got the croaks. I warm up and sing every day. I
Mm-hmm.
rehearse every day, take care of my instrument, go out and do my job. And what works? If you're having kind of a rough gig,
Mm-hmm.
just smile at them. They can hear it. But if you smile and have a positive attitude, it's infectious.
Yeah, I believe that. Definitely. For anyone listening who wants to pick up or stream Rapid Fire Succession on Target Part 2, where's the best place for them to go?
I'm hearing, go directly with BraveWords, send a message to them, or Global Rock Records in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, all the streaming platforms, every single one of them, it's available. Even some of the mom and pop shops that are still around are carrying it. There's a place in Pennsylvania called Heavy Metal Mansion or something. I had
Nice.
friends of mine going there and buying 5 copies and then mailing them to their friends that don't have any money and standing there proudly. I got it. I go, where'd you get that? Oh, there's a little place in some farm town in Pennsylvania called the Heavy Metal Mansion. I mean, just do the research online. And BraveWords is really good about it in Global Rock in the UK. Send them an email saying, hey, it says out of stock. I have run into that last night in the UK. A guy wrote me and said, hey, I want to buy 5 copies, but it's always out of stock. Either your record's selling really good or they don't have it. I go, they have it. It's sold out. But here's the email to the record company. Write them and say, hey, I live in your country.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I buy this damn thing? So don't give up, because that's what keeps this thing moving. And merchandise. I've got a great line. I've got 3 different styles of shirts.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is actually the On Target logo that I kind of altered a little bit. But I've got 2 other styles. I've got Beyond Target with all the demos from the On Target sessions. And I've got Rapid Fire Succession. So that merchandise is really what puts gas in the tank. It keeps everybody paid,
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And finally, what message do you want to send out to the fans, both those who followed you for decades and the new ones that are discovering you today?
Forgive me for not understanding TikTok, to all the youngers. I'm on TikTok now. Follow me on Instagram. I'm always blabbing about something there. Bands in town will tell you where I'm playing. I'm really try to stay involved with that. Bangalore Choir, David Reece, Facebook. And the most sincere thing I can say is thank you. I mean, for all of you people that have stood behind me in the ups and downs, there are no words of appreciation, because without you, there ain't no me. That's all I can say. I mean, to be given the opportunity to go on this Alcatraz Girls' School tour,
Mm-hmm.
perfect timing, to all of the people in America are going, man, you got to come to our city. We'll bring 20 people. I mean, thank you. And thank you, James.
I want to thank you so much for doing this. It's always great catching up with you, man. I feel like we picked up right where we left off from the last time.
Always, man. Thank you.
Well, I want to wish you a very happy holiday season, too. You got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and New Year. Best of luck, and best of luck with the tour, all right?
Thank you, brother. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners. And yeah, man, pray for us. We're going out to rock and roll. I know that Alcatraz and Girls' School are kicking it up in Scandinavia. We're joining up on the 25th November 2025 in Belgium, and then the madness begins.
Well, listen, let's stay in touch when you got other things coming out in the coming year and stuff like that. I'd love to have you back on the show again. It's always great chatting with you.
Yeah. Since this is going so well, and there's probably 10 or 11 laying around, out of that, maybe half of them, if I proceed to do an Act 3 and Act 4, I got a pretty good feeling we're going to do another record for BraveWords. So, yeah, there's more to come.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy the rest of your Sunday with your wife, and we'll be in touch, all right?
All right. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate everything you do.
You're welcome, man. Love you, brother. You take care, all right?
Love you too, man. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
David, thanks again for taking the time out to talk, and a huge congratulations once more on Rapid Fire Succession on Target Part 2. For everyone tuning in, make sure you pick up the brand new Bangalore Choir album and stream it on all platforms. And don't miss them on tour across Europe with US dates coming in 2026. I'm James Michael Hollenstein, and you've been listening to The Record Machine Show. Until next time, keep that volume up, keep the turntable spinning, and keep that rock and roll spirit alive. And to wrap things up, here's one more killer track from the brand new album. This one's titled Driver's Seat. Turn it up and let it ride.
Where the light begins to die, caught in the
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Hall Productions. All rights reserved. For distribution information or to add this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.